Good afternoon, everyone. It is so very, very wonderful to see you again. Before we begin, I would like to give a huge shout out to my active patron members. A big thank you to Brayden, Albedo Jen, a donator on the internet, Kalera Star, Jane the Zinni, Ironia, Lexendor Devunt, Azalea, Battlebugs, Nodentur, Envious Nova, Indigoblin, Rachel C, Makoto, Spam Juniper Turn, Aelin, Lavish Hair, Azura Akamura, Emma, Nobody at All, Agatha, Ragecat 888, Amy Wires, The Octahat, Evelyn, Puppy, Rosebound, Fish Salad, Sarho Smith, Belkirtano, Galahad, Salgora Agaras, Marisa Cressida Summit, Benifer the Potato, Genetic Zero, ZT Mackin, Queen of All Dread Boys, Void Dweller, Teethfair 5, Elster's Shiny Things, Jessica, Amy Olgers, Tiny Portal, Chloe, Vera the Space Witch, Ellipses, CM Fireflies, Some Guy, Ghost 48, Joanna, Indigo, Aelin, Kai, Danny Babani, TGSTGA, Eden, Mick Shepard, Captain Aardvark 986, Lily Adams, Hazel, Alice, Kalek 92, Freya 19, DFA Blaze, Robot Waifu, and Bloodmoth. Thank you. Thank you so very much for all of your support. It truly means the universe to me. If you too wish to become an active patron member, please click the link in the description down below to come visit my Patreon page. And with that out of the way, hello and welcome back. You said we heard Mr. Stream is starting. Hello Mudkip Drowsy, and hello Eve. Hello Emma, hello Kendrick, hello Lost in Wonderland, and welcome Ray. And welcome to everyone and anyone and everyone who pops into the stream. How am I doing on this fine evening? I am doing fantastic. Got back from a shopping trip like a couple hours ago, I think. And hopefully we've got a good couple of solutions to a couple of problems that we've picked up over the weekend. So, what am I talking about? Ya girl has access to an electric bike now. Yay! So this Foxo is now on wheels. Granted, it's not the fastest thing in the entire universe, but it is fairly fast considering what I'm working with. Its top speed is around 28 miles per hour with pedal assist. It's something that I'm extremely privileged to own. And it has turn signals too! I didn't even know that bikes came with turn signals until you got to the motored variety, like the gas motored variety. Chloe says, that's Flames low-key. Hello, Guinevere. Flames low-key. What do you mean by that, Chloe? Are you saying that it's awesome? That's absolutely wonderful. Ray says, Nico and her Sonic arc. Imagine your VTuber as a playable character, OMG. I don't think that I would be a Sonic OC. But I definitely could see myself in a Souls-like game. Either as a boss or as a playable class. Can you imagine playing as a Kitsune using fire to blast through your enemies? Guinevere says, Guinevere, Nico, when? What, you want to see me in Guinevere's dress or something? I don't think that blue is my color. Red, on the other hand, is definitely my color. Ray says, biker class, using your bike to run over enemies and ram them with your wheels. That'd be sick. I think then that I would probably just be like a dollar store Mavwika. Have you ever seen Mavwika from Genshin? Like, activates all of my neurons and I just go into a gay panic every single time I see her. There's a reason I don't play Genshin Impact, and that is because, well, it's a gacha game. It's gambling, and I don't want to gamble right now, not with limited resources. Ray says, girl, I played Genshin. I absolutely know Mavwika. Yeah, I was not able to get Mavwika, but I was able to get the new android girl, Fluff, what was her name again? Inefa. Inefa is great. I like Inefa, and I got Inefa's weapon too. So that was fantastic. I like android girls. Guinevere says, gamble, does that mean spend? No, it means betting money on something in hopes of earning that money back plus interest, or losing it all. A gamble. Yep, Inefa. I love Inefa. I kind of wish that she had, like, this, visor on her face, or was her face, because, I don't know, I don't like a lot of female robot designs that kind of just feel like they're Barbies. It just kind of gives me that impression a lot of the time. I have been pleasantly surprised before by some particular robots that have absolutely blown me away, and Inefa is no exception to that, believe you me. I just kind of wish that she had a little bit more of that robot. Ray says, android girls, my beloved. Honestly, my favorites are Llama, Nefer, and Lynette. I think I've got Lynette. I fear I'm not immune to complex cat-coded girls. Honestly, I do like seeing robots with unconventional designs like less Barbie and more GLaDOS. Oh, it's you. It's been a long time. How have you been? I've been really busy being dead. You know, after you murdered me. Okay, look. We both have said a lot of things that you are going to regret. But I believe we can put all of this behind us. For science. You monster. I will say, though, that since you went to all the trouble of waking me up, you must really, really love to test. I love it too. There's just one small thing we need to take care of first. Ah yes, well here we are again. It's always such a pleasure. Remember when you tried to kill me twice? Oh, how we laughed and laughed. Except I wasn't there. Under the circumstances, I've been shockingly nice. Ray says, reminding me, I need to play Portal proper. The osmosis is no longer enough, but the watch list is like an endless extending paper a la the SpongeBob gif. Add more zeros to the aerial faith plate. You're looking good, by the way. Really healthy. have defeated the aerial faceplate load capacity. Well done. I'll just lower the ceiling. Hello, Camilla. Meow. Meow. Ruh. 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 I can't really do that much in the terms of cat sounds, but I can squeak. Lost in Wonderland says, is this what you've been waiting for? Save 1, 2, and 4. Eve says, bow. Hello, bisexual. Hello. Camilla says, I don't fight. I feel like it's what the lesbian overlords want. The lesbian overlords. I don't want this current world that we're living in. I want a world that is ruled by lesbians of every shape and size and disposition. Like, I want a world where I go to, like, my city council, like, meeting or what have you, where I'm looking in on the orders of the day, and I just want to be, like, confronted with competent women who know what they're doing and also have really loving, like, wives and girlfriends and shit. I think that we're missing that as a society. I just personally really like the unused portal lines where it's basically just GLaDOS fishing for an apology. Oh, it seems that it's broken down. Is there anything that you wish to say? Anything? Take your time. Oh well, I'll ask again in another 10 years. Can I spin? Not really. Not right now. Not really. Sorry. Also, hello, Chloe. Hello, Maya. Winter. It is a delight to see you. Welcome. Welcome, welcome to the Fox Den. Camilla says, I just want to be left alone, but the government doesn't let me do that. No apologies, Robot Overlord. Chloe says, imagine being lesbian and named Chloe. That's gay. Chloe, Jonathan Colton, the goat who wrote Still Alive and Want You Gone, and also potentially, if I'm remembering correctly, also, Don't Say Goodbye, which is something that occasionally makes me cry. Big sister is watching. Bisexual says, I'm just glad to be a male bisexual guy. Pride was amazing. Personally, Pride never stops for me. It's one gay thing after another over here with me. Though it is a conscious effort. Can't say that it's easy a lot of the time. But some days it's easy. You know, just me being me. Being a incredibly sapphic lesbian trans fox girl on the internet in a poly relationship with so many beautiful, kind, and cute subs. Camilla says, according to my brother, I'm not floofy. He thinks I'm a sad wet cat. Aw. Poor little thing. Wish I could take you in and take care of you. Winter says, making friends in Final Fantasy 14 by playing Black Mage. I think I've seen bits and pieces of that. I really like your getup. I really love your outfit. Ray says, is there such a thing as lesbian-coded names? I don't know. Is Nicole one? Also, I've been floating ideas again. I know that the channel has been called Cutiefox and I'm not really planning on changing it anytime soon, but I've been thinking about other ideas, and one of those that came up was Willow Fox. What do you think of that, Willow Fox? I'm just writing it in the chat so that you see how it's spelled, just like Willow Fox. I just think that that has a nice growing feel to it, don't you think? Also, stay safe, Eve. It was so very good to see you again. Please take care, and I hope to see you again soon. I miss you a lot of the time. And that goes for a majority of the people here in the chat. I miss you a lot of the time, especially when I'm not streaming. And sometimes I feel incredibly sad. And then I remember, I'm the one who can turn on the stream again. Chloe says, girlies, how do I not yearn as often? My transmute heart is working overtime. Unfortunately, I can't turn the yearning off. I yearn myself. There's so many beautiful people out in the world, and I bite my tongue a lot of the times because I know that they are probably not interested in me. Chloe says, pride never starts for me, but we chill. Winter says, someone saw my and sent a towel just saying which sister in all caps. I saw that. Also, hi Spyro. Hoi! Hi! Good morning! Camilla says, I'm back on nights so I don't have to deal with the people retail BS. Oh, I've worked nights before. Ish. When I was still living in Missouri, the Dollar General was not a 24-hour place. I don't think that many Dollar Generals are 24-hour places. But yeah, you get some really colorful characters towards the end of the evening. All names can be lesbian names if you try hard enough. If you try hard enough, even Marcus can be a lesbian name. Yeah, Willow Fox just sounds really neat. And it actually had like a lot of tie-ins to a couple of ideas that I had for the Fox avatar. Just making her a Willow Dryad sort of character. If you know, you know. Yeah, I like it too. I like Cutiefox as well. I'm not really planning on changing it, but it could be a neat community project where we like look at different sorts of names and see if there's like a better one that suits the, you know, persona a little bit better. You know, it's a case of I'm caught between wanting to keep what I've got and also thinking, well, dang, I just thought up something that could be cooler. Chloe says there are lesbian coded names. There are Chloe, Maxine, Victoria, and Kate. Willow Fox is Flame's twin, so Flames means good? Oh, I just yawned. Sorry about that. Got some coffee here. I have not had coffee all day. I brewed myself a cup finally. Spar says, I think it's less iconic and not as recognizable, but I am what you would call a simp, so I would still absolutely love and watch all of it. Bisexual says, Cutiefox, I've never been to Arizona. Is the weather that hot there? Yes. It is 100 degrees Fahrenheit a majority of the time in the summer. Even as far as, like, late spring goes. Could be, like, up to mid-spring it starts to get around that hot. If I'm remembering things correctly. It gets to a height of about 110 and beyond degrees. When I first arrived here about 2 years ago, I arrived when the temperature had reached a peak of 113 degrees. So yeah, it gets that hot. Hence why I'm not going to be formally, like, recording anything until the winter months. So unfortunately, there's just, like, all of these ASMR ideas that I'm writing, but are otherwise on hold, because I can't risk the heat, you know, exhaustion right now. And especially for, like, Welcome Home Remastered, I want everything recorded in the booth, because I feel that that has a better sort of environment to record in. Yes, we're all yearners here, Ray. Except for those who do not yearn, so I suppose we're not all yearners here. Hello, Violet. It's so very good to see you again. So very, very good indeed to see you again. Hello, Lost in Wonderland. Been playing Pal World with my partner and a lot of the bosses, Zoe and Lily have us acting unwise. Chloe says, ew, Missouri. Bottom 1 places I've lived, I miss it. Missouri is like a mixed bag with me. I love the countryside. I absolutely adore the grass and the trees. But I also miss that about Pennsylvania as well. And Pennsylvania, from what I gather, is actually a lot nicer of a place to live than Missouri, because fuck the people. A lot of the customers that I've had were incredibly lovely. That notwithstanding, you got some absolutely fucking wild people. You got some incredibly wild fucking people walking through your store. And 90% of them don't get the whole being trans thing. I was an exception. I was, like, incredibly, like, light and bubbly voiced, and I tried my best to be personable with most people. But at the first hint of misgendering, and most of my patience cracks. Camilla says, I'm a stalker. That means I work best at night. I love it. So you're a stalker, huh? A stalker. Do you, do you tend to follow people around at night? Do you tend to carry sharp, pointy objects at night? I jest. It is in jest. Violet says, I wouldn't mind being stuck in a frozen tundra, especially with all the burning heat outside. Yeah, just move me to Ireland really quick. Yeah, just a cool part of Ireland. Out of the way, somewhere where I can see a lot of grass and trees. Sparrow says, it is an awesome name, and for those already here, it is a neat thing. I think it'll be leading to algorithm issues, which is such bullshit, but something to be aware of. Yeah, and it's also a thing to keep in mind. I've already changed, like, my YouTube name, like, at least once, the big major one that I did, which was from Nico Cleric to Cutiefox. A lot of my older audios were back when I still used the Nico Cleric name. And you'll see signs of that everywhere. I think that Cutiefox is a little bit iconic. A lot of the times, it just kind of feels like I'm calling myself cute, which feels a little weird. So what's self-aggrandizing? Is that what that word means? Let me look that up real quick. Aggrandizing is the present participle in adjective form of the verb aggrandize. It means to make something appear or become greater, larger, more powerful, or more impressive than it actually is. So I was using the word correctly. This kind of feels like I was self-aggrandizing with it, and just feels a little bit, I don't know. I don't want to say cringe, because if it's cringe, I'll accept it. I am cringe, I do cringe things, and in my opinion, that makes me, free. I'm the person who will squeak in public simply for the vibes. Is Camilla lesbian coded? I believe so, seeing as the story of Carmilla is very much a lesbian vampire story in my view. Rai says, I get that. I'm the most indecisive person on the planet, lol. Chloe says, flame is good. Flames is good. Like, that's fire. Like, that's flames. I like that, Chloe. I like that. Camilla says I spend 6 years. Ooh, what kind of coffee am I having? Believe it or not, it is a dark roast called Dark Magic. I am drinking Dark Magic coffee. I think that that is incredibly fun. I think that that is just so full of whimsy. Bisexual says, over here in Mississippi it's like 80 or 90 here. I think it might be getting down to about 90 now. Let me look at my current temperature. Nope, it's still 100 degrees. It's still 100 degrees, and it's currently 8:50 p.m. It'll get it down to about 90-ish tonight. Yikes. Ray says something there are 4 phases of spring, and then summer lasts 5 seconds somehow. Camilla says, I spent 6 years picking my name only to end up picking Camilla because people call me Cam IRL, so the name stuck. Also, drink water. Drink water. Welcome, Katie! I got the plot armor that I live in British Columbia, and it's actually cooler than usual. Help me. Please. Please. Won't you take in this poor little fox? I just want to get out of the heat. Please. Please, can you help me? Pretty please. Por favor. Violet says Oregon is bipolar with the weather. Ray says cold water, my beloved. Yeah, I actually have something that sounds completely backwards, but it's the truth. I think it could just be this apartment, but we don't have a case of running out of hot water. We have a case of running out of cold water. You will turn the water on its coldest setting, and it's boiling fucking hot. It's hell. I live in hell. Camilla says there's a reason why Missouri sounds like misery. I am in misery. Ray says, at this point, everyone who's worked customer service has a horror story of some kind. It's so awful. I told all of mine here. My quote-unquote favorite is the time that some inconsiderate fuck job decided to threaten to cut my hair because it was long and bushy. Fuck that guy. I hope that he steps on Legos for the rest of existence. Lost in Wonderland says, so you're a stalker. Wait, I lost the comment. Oh, yeah. Do you come here often? Hello, Baitor. Sometimes you get really good customers, and then there's the horrors. Yup. Chloe says, all my IRL trans friends are still in Missouri. I miss them. I've had a couple of friends in Missouri that kind of, like, ghosted me after a while. I miss them. I miss them a lot. And I'm not talking about the people whom I used to associate with and now don't. For a bunch of different reasons now. Even though I do rather miss Bear and After Dark, I don't think I could ever talk with them again. I think that bridge has not just been burned to ash, I think that its remains were nuked from orbit. Ray says, hey, if you move to Ireland, more excuses to bring out the accent, lol. Oh, bringing out the accent. Lost says, I'm biased because Willow is a name that I use, but I do like it. Clay says Ireland when Minnesota is right there, like me spreading propaganda from my state. At this point, I don't want to live in the United States anymore. With the current regimes, you know, taking control of everything, I just want to get as far away from this warmongering, pedophile-protecting government as possible. I think that the entire thing is rotten from the inside out, and it's horrible. Camilla says, yep, I put the Fright on the shelves, and you're not the first to make these jokes, don't worry, and to answer the questions. 1, only if I need to ask my boss a question. 2, yes, they give us knives. Yes. Emma says, it's cute. Violet says, you are a cutie. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Hello, Mysterious Sap. Are you winning, Fox? I think I am right now. Ray says, to be cringe is to be free of shame. Camilla says, you see all foxes are cute, therefore you are a cutie fox. Ray says, okay, but squeaky in public is literally so brave. Sometimes it's not even, like, conscious. Sometimes I'll yawn, and then it just bops out, like... Chloe says, for FYM Minnesota, I got a lake and a boat and a never go for reasons. Katie says, I'm horrible picking things too, especially movies or TV shows to watch. Though I did watch Project Hail Mary when I was still in Pennsylvania. That was great. Maya says, speaking of indecisiveness, I spent like 3 weeks deciding which RPG to play. And Bisexual says, how was your trip to Pennsylvania from Arizona to Pennsylvania? Did you fly the whole way? I'm curious because I know some people who drive for the scenery. I want to either go by train or car the next time. I don't want to go in a plane again. I don't. Please. I hate planes. I hate flying. I don't like the feeling of being trapped in your seat several, tens of thousands of feet up in the air. I am a terrestrial creature. I need to be on the ground. I did not fly the entire way. It was I had to take a stop when I first, got there. Had to stop in North Carolina, and then take a connection to get to Pennsylvania. That was fun and interesting. I was in Philadelphia for an hour. Chloe says, I'm poisoning the minds of more people every day. Hell yes. Chloe says, I'm a good bad influence on people. Roy says, ooh, dark magic, reminding me of that one cafe by my old uni. I like cafes. Camilla says, in Texas it gets hot. I can't imagine what Arizona gets like. 110-degree weather that feels like you're being broiled. Violet says, it's my birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Violet. Happy birthday to you. Sorry about the pause. I had to look at your name again because my brain decided to glitch and forget it for the song. Ray says, I started cutting down on coffee, though, because it makes me restless, and when you have unmedicated ADHD, you can guess the result. Emma says, Operation Fox Rescue Startle. Ray says, tears falling down at a party, saddest little foxy in the room, fears tell me fears, don't get me started. I get a little gray hair for every skay you share. Oh no. At that point, room temperature may as well be cold. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sparrow says, what is this banger music? Also, it is a tad loud compared to your voice. Here, if it's a tad loud, how about I turn it down slightly? Yeah, that works. Gloria says, I remember dealing with that in Missouri once. Springfield's so bad, please set it on fire. Camilla says, Camilla hates California. That's how you know I was a born Texan, unfortunately. I was born and raised in California. South California. SoCal. In a little desert city. That's as much as I think I can say, unfortunately. I think the most I can ever say is the name, which was Hesperia. Yeah, Hesperia. That is where I used to live. And despite the fact that I have not lived there for roughly 3-ish years now, holy goodness, 3 years. It feels longer than that. In a good way, it feels longer than that. Chloe says, Texas? Is that like Lamer, Oklahoma? Katie says, are you comfortable telling what happened? Oh, what happened with what? Spyro says, bridges should be professionally demolished by pioneer forces with generous applications of TNT. You know, yeah. Baitor says, at least Texas isn't as lame as Saskatchewan. I couldn't tell you about it. I couldn't tell you a damn thing about Saskatchewan, except for the fact that I think that there's a song about someone who becomes a pirate along the river. Katie says there's actually a 50-60% that I'll move to Ireland too, funny enough. Personally, I would like to go anywhere where I am accepted. Oh, Katie also says the other ASMR artist's bridge burning. Okay. So. It is a little bit hazy for me right now. But what I remember of it was that, generally speaking, we had been drifting apart for some time. There had been, like, a good couple of things to put wedges between me and them when I was still living there. Yeah. There was, like, a mad temper that one of them had. I won't say who. And a thing to know about me is I don't know how to deal with someone who's angry that well. Because in my experience, when someone got pissed off at me, it was a sign that I should run far, far away. Or risk something terrible happening. Considering my childhood and the sort of pain that I was, like, exposed to when I was a child, a flaring temper made me go into either fight, flight, or appease. To fawn over someone who is angry. But that's not, like, the main thing. That's not the main reason why we don't talk. I'm just trying to build the scene. Trying to remember exactly when it happened. I can't remember even the month, but I think it might have been sometime in July or June when they pulled me aside and essentially told me that I had until the end of July, the beginning of August, to find a new place to live. And like I said, there had been like a big gap widening between us for the longest time. I did not confront people about tempers that often because it was clear that wasn't going to change. And I started, like, getting really self-conscious about my scent, how I smelled, because I was told a lot of the time that the room that I was staying in smelled a lot. Something that I'm still not sure was true or not, because I couldn't smell it, and Akira couldn't smell it, and it's something that's just gonna bother me for the rest of my life, I think, was whether or not that was accurate or not. So I washed a lot, but didn't seem to affect that much of the apparent smell. I suppose that was one of the reasons why they eventually asked me to, like, move out. And to be fair about all of that, they were well within their they were well within their rights to ask me to leave. I like to think that I handled it with grace. And I don't think they were bad people for asking me to leave. I think that it was good that they wanted to reclaim their space that had me in it. Afterwards, there was the big blow-up that happened after I had moved to Arizona. Long story short, I think it was After Dark had a case of stuff that she had left in Akira's apartment. You know, just a case of stuff that she never came back for, and was just using Akira's apartment as storage. And eventually that caused tempers to boil over. And I'm trying to recall where that concerned me. But I just remember it was after, like, my teeth had just been taken care of, so I had to take some amoxicillin, like, every 4 hours, I believe, so I had to wake up early to take some amoxicillin. So I wake up, I grab my phone, and I see that there's actually a message from my manager. My V-Stars manager. Basically, asking me what the heck was going on. The blow-up had happened while I was asleep. Akira confronted them hard about, I think, this is, again, really hazy for me, so please forgive me if 100% of it is not, like, if I am not 100% sure of the particular pieces of it. I think Akira was upset at how they were treating me, how they were treating her, and it all eventually just, like, exploded. All of the bridges were just, like, burnt. And essentially I think that they had threatened to leave the agency if I was still a member of the agency myself. They basically were just using their positions within the agency as leverage to try to kick me out. So that's another thing. From what I remember, just from what I remember, I think that they abused a lot of the financial independence that me and Akira had attained. Because of the four of us, at that time when I was still living in Missouri, I had that job at Dollar General, so I was relatively self-sufficient. I was relatively, like, able to get by. And Akira is a teacher. She is employed at least part of the time, and makes a decent buck at that as well. And from what I remember, again, just from what I remember, they took advantage a lot of that particular financial lenience. At the time, when I was living there still, and spotting them cash, I think upwards of like $400-ish of cash at points. Can't remember. Yeah, it got to be a bit much. And I suppose that, like, was one of the reasons. Again, I think. The environment wasn't the best, but it was not the worst either, and it was actually a step up from my old living situation back in Southern California when I was still living in my blood mother's house. Living in her house was far worse, because she let an abusive asshole live there. Because that abusive asshole was her brother. And she had been trained not to abandon family, which, I mean, I have to give some props for that. She didn't abandon family, she just demonstrated that she didn't exactly give a shit about her promises. He laid hands on me, and she had said that she would kick him out if he ever did that. And when confronted with it, she made excuses instead. Later on, when I had that confrontation with her, the last time I ever spoke to her, basically she went off on me saying I was everything that was wrong in that sort of situation, I think, from what I recall. She said that I made the environment feel incredibly tense and negative, and that if she was to enforce that sort of boundary on him, that she should have done it with me too. To my credit, I did say, yeah, I think you should have. And I think what I meant by that was, if you were going to kick me out as well as him, yeah, I agree that she probably should have kicked me out. So long as he wasn't living there still. So long as he wasn't, like, hurting my blood siblings. The man could be charming. The man could be sweet. The man could be incredibly generous at times. Doesn't excuse his behavior one iota. He's gonna treat people horribly. He's going to breed an atmosphere of hostility. I want no part of that. So yeah, that is an example of, like, how bad things were in the Cali house. So living in Missouri was a step up from that. I did not have to deal with tempers thrown that much. It's just that when they were thrown, I had to deal with it. And I lived basically in a room that was doubling as the entryway back upstairs. I lived in the basement, so basically I just, like, I slept, and if people needed to come downstairs for whatever reason and into the basement, they walked past me, and they walked past me in order to go upstairs again if I was still sleeping. Stuff like that. So all of that, after the extreme blow-up, I believe that Bear Waifu attempted one last form of emotional hurt towards me because I had kind of done an unhealthy thing in that I idolized her as a adoptive mother figure. And I think I'm gonna stop there. Because I can't remember what that message was, and I'm not going to repeat it here again. I don't remember it, and I fear that I've already... what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm afraid of misconstruing the events, and afraid that I've done that already. Just from what I've experienced, shit went south, people blew up at each other, and I blocked them. We don't speak anymore. We don't collab on anything. Bear still has her voice on some of my works. I'm not ashamed of those works at all. I'm not ashamed of the work that we did with each other. And in a lot of ways, I miss what we had. I miss the good times that we had together. I'm gonna take a drink of coffee. Thank you. Thank you. How do I drink my coffee? Well, I grab the handle of my cup, put the edge of it to my lips, and then I just drink. That's how I drink my coffee. If I'm having like a frap or something, then I sometimes drink it through a straw. Baitor says, got head out, but wanted to say thanks for streaming and making audios. You're a voice training inspiration and a wonderful person, and it's awful things have been so rough for you. Thank you so very much. Please stay safe, and I wish you luck with your voice training. If ever you need any advice, I can offer at least a little. Yeah, living in Arizona has just been like the time of my life. And it is... If living in Missouri was a step up, then living in Arizona is at least 10 paces up. Living with Akira is a dream. And despite like a lot of the stressful situations that we find ourselves in, despite like all of the financial hardships from living in the city and from dealing with the ruined economy, the crumbling economy around us, I mean, so long as we've got each other's back, I think that we could survive that. Ray says, do you add sugar or cream to your coffee, or do you like it black? I like sugar and cream. I'm not as big of a masochist as to drink it black. I don't drink my coffee straight, heaven forfend. I drink it gay. Yeah, the horrible shit that I've been through is nothing compared to what other people have been through. There have been so many people whose parents were far worse than mine. Through the sheer negligence and the corporal punishment that I dealt with, people have dealt with straight up beatings. Through the psychological warfare, people have been far more destroyed than I was. There are kids out there that never made it out of that sort of situation. So, I'm grateful that I managed to get out. I keep in mind that it wasn't the worst. I also keep in mind that it wasn't the best either. Oh yeah, and my blood mother also accused me of using you all as a weapon. Yes, she actually said that to my face, that I would use my audience as a weapon to go and to harass her. Which, let me be very, very clear here, she's my problem to deal with, if at all. If anyone is to be in line for, like, self-defense or what have you, it's me. I'm the person to deal with it. But yeah, she did accuse me of using my audience to dox her, to threaten her, or to, like, you know, basically just violence. I don't believe you to be violent people. The only violence I really expect of you is self-defense. If someone is trying to hurt you, then you should hurt them to get them to stop hurting you. But I would never use you as a weapon. I don't want to use my audience because that just feels like a gross thing to do. You are here to enjoy the content, right? You are here to listen to me, whisper sweet nothings into your ear and make you feel nice and sometimes scared. You're not here to be my tool. It is my privilege to be an entertainer for you. Camilla says, I only have Discord, and why would I bother someone I don't know? Chloe says, I'm not great at comforting words or anything, but I gotta say, it's great that you're in a better spot, and don't let the idea that someone else suffered more take away from what happened. Ray says, and we support you as your audience because we love your work and we love chatting with you in streams like these. Camilla says, I'm only here for the live streams mostly because the community you have is amazing. I'm honored to have the community that I do. Violet says, I like my beer like I like my man. I don't drink beer. Ray says, yeah, but this isn't the Trauma Olympics. Pain is pain, Fox. Just because you had it bad doesn't mean you can ignore it. Thanks. Yeah, I really shouldn't ignore it. Thank you, Ray. I do my best. Maya says, whenever I see you stream whatever quality, my day skyrockets. Camilla says, you want some words? According to my friends, I'm good at them. Violet says, you make everyone in this stream. I feel either intimidated in the best way possible and loved. Chloe says, chat, I'm hanging out on the swings. Pull up. I miss playing on the swings too. I actually used to whistle a lot. I used to hum a lot. I hummed Final Fantasy songs while on the swings. What days those were. I miss my blood siblings, but they've got their own lives. Far away and with nothing to do with me. And so long as they're safe, I'm glad. But damn, I miss them. They are cool people. From what I can recall, and from what I've seen, my younger brother is actually a really talented artist. If you're lucky enough to run across some of his art on the internet, I think you'll be blown away. He's really good at what he does, and honestly makes me feel jealous and a little bit, like, incompetent next to him. Words of encouragement. You can't just say words of encouragement. Words of great encouragement. Oh, that's right, Emmy. Emmy actually helped me work through a little bit, just a little bit, of some of the issues that I've got surrounding food, of all things. I've been really weird with food there's not a lot of food that I can safely eat. Safely in, like, huge air quotes, because, yeah, I'm capable of eating a lot of stuff, but a lot of stuff feels kinda gross going down. Do you ever have that? Where a lot of food that seems to be alright, but you can't make yourself eat it. It's like there's this big fucking wall, and you can't seem to force yourself to do that. It's maddening, I tell you. That's why I gravitate towards, like, chicken and stuff. Especially, like, the processed stuff and fast food. Fast food is relatively consistent. And I find I can eat that a lot more consistently than I can with, like, fluff, what is it? Unprepared lettuce? Beans in a can? Sometimes beans in a can. Sometimes beans in... Beans is weird. Beans can sometimes be good. Beans can sometimes be bad. And... crazy making. Maya says, there are a lot of foods I love the taste of, but the texture makes me throw them up. I tried mushrooms half a dozen times. I hate mushrooms. I can't stand them. Rubbery little things. Ugh. And you can't tell what they're thinking either. And you know they're thinking something. But yeah, when I was a kid, when I went to the local park on the days where my blood mother would take us out there, I would watch people eat and drink tasty snacks and food that I had no idea existed, because my blood mother never really got those sorts of things. And so, when I got hungry, I took to begging. I begged as a kid. I begged for food as a kid. And it took my blood mother walking up to them and saying, okay, look, this kid has been fed. Don't feed the kid. Which really sucked, too, because they had some really tasty food. Shaking your hand and hating mushrooms and loving chicken. Especially like chicken fingers or nuggets. Ugh, I love chicken nuggets. Stream buffered and made it sound like you said, I tired mushrooms half a dozen times with zero context, which is, like, very funny. Camilla says, I have too much pride to beg. Me, I was a kid. And I looked at people eating tasty snacks, and I was like, well, maybe if I put on a cute enough face, I can partake of some of the snacks. Pride? What's that? I later learned that Pride was gay festivities. I don't beg anymore. Not really. Well, I do... Actually, yeah, I do beg, but only in circumstances where I cannot do otherwise. Like if I am desperate. Because pride is one thing, but I can't eat pride. I can't cuddle under pride. I certainly can't drink pride. Shout out Raising Cane's, I got called a slur there. Oh, gosh. Slurs are stupid. I hate slurs. Violet says, I don't eat mushrooms because my mind still thinks they're alive and I feel like eating something alive or part of the Fae. And if you eat a part of the Fae, it means you become Fae-like in some aspect. That always feels weird. Camilla says, even when I was younger, my epilepsy medicine did get me drinking a lot of liquids, though dry mouth sucks. Chloe says, I've eaten pride before. Ray says, yeah, desperate times call for desperate measures. Random Thing says, I can't eat pride. Miss Fox, may I request a crumb of context? The Master Duelman says, hey Fox, really missed your streams. Can you tell me when the next one? Hopefully tomorrow. Just hopefully I'll be streaming tomorrow. So what's the context for I can't eat pride? Camilla said I have too much pride to beg, and I basically stated as fact that pride doesn't really keep the lights on, and pride doesn't really keep you fed. And when I was a kid, I begged for food when I was at the park and saw people eating. And I was hungry. So I went up and I begged food from other people and, couples chilling on a blanket. There's just this random 8-year-old just like, can I have some food, please? Just like looking at them like, can I have some food, please? I'm very, very hungry. And about 70% of the time, it worked. Camilla says, rip me, I can't log on tomorrow. I'm sorry. Random says also, hope you're coping well with the heat. It's nearly caused me to have a mental breakdown. Chloe says, we will be there. I'll be back. I'll be Beethoven. Maya says, is the next stream gonna be around the same time? Roughly. Hopefully a little bit earlier, if I can manage it. Camilla says, or maybe I was too worried about onions. I hate onions. Oh, I hate onions too. I don't like onions. I love pickles though. Give me pickles any day. I love pickles. Chloe says, imagine needing the heat to have a mental breakdown. Violet says, you can eat pride, just in the way that if you think if your mind is messy. Who said that? Ray says, be there or be square. Turns into a cube. Fuck. MSS starts hurriedly loading all of my food into a FedEx box. Don't do that! Camilla says pickles are the best. Ray says, ugh, I hate onions. Bad, bad, bad. Bad, 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 bad. Astrophage on me star. Bad, 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 bad. Chloe says we're dissing onions, but glazing the devil's pickles. Onions sucks, but they're fire if cooked into a sauce. A swouse. Ray says, OMG, just like GameCube. Boom. Maya says, I hate pickles so much. At least onions have uses. Oi! Pickles have uses? Give me the pickles that you're shared if you hate pickles so much. I will eat the pickles. Director says, sorry to drop in, just to drop back out, but I am in the process of going to bed. Have a good one ever, y'all. Good night, Director. Chloe says, shout out the GameCube. I play that nearly every day. More coffee. Coffee. Violet says, Rocky thinks Fox is cutie too, statement. Oh gosh. Oh, stars. Rocky's so cool. Mindfire says, onions are best when fried in a ring. I don't like onion rings. I don't like onion rings. I don't like onions. I don't. Ray says, I do not like any vegetables really, even the ones I tolerate I don't go out of my way for. Sometimes I go for carrots. Sometimes I can also go for celery. Sometimes I used to go for lettuce. I can't go for lettuce right now because of that stupid parasite. Random says, I love onions, but I worked at Subway and I had to prep all of them every shift and everything was so dull it crushed them, so now I'm too scared to cut them. Mai says, when I was at college, my roommate hoarded pickles for no reason at all. Chloe says, wait, that doesn't make sense. Ray says, surely, this will not have consequences. Camilla says, pride is tasty, especially when used to stand up to your father who told you to work at Chick-fil-A. And Hobby Lobby, despite knowing his other daughter is gay and that I wouldn't do that to my sister. Is that your dad, Camilla? Your dad sucks. Mary says, onions gave me problems, unless it's onion rings. I have no idea how that works. Emma says, amaze. Chloe says, sorry, too busy thinking about #girls to make a coherent sentence. Ray says, how do we like the sound of crushed up Oreos on whipped cream as a coffee topper? That's an idea. Camilla says, too young to have principles, my ass, no such thing. Well, I'm not saying I didn't have principles as a child. I just begged. If I wanted something, I begged for it. As I grew older, I realized, begging wasn't the solution to everything. So, asking became a thing, and when I realized that asking my blood mother for anything was a very risky sort of endeavor, I've just learned not to ask. Violet says, yay, Rocky love. Ray says, wait, Papa's Malkaria can't escape the mines at rank 20. Chloe says, when onion ring, do you pick up the phone? Huh? Random says, my shorts have been flooded by Rocky clips and animatics. I've seen a few. They're awesome. Have you seen Bloody Mary stuff? That's awesome. I love artists so goddamn much. Ray says, carrots and celery. Chloe says, shut up, parasites, they're like interesting. Some of them are interesting. However, I don't like stuff that prevents me from eating lettuce. Ray says, carrots and celery like bunnies. Camilla says, onions are the best when thrown in the trash. I will say, some people do like onions. They should be allowed to eat onions. Some people like pickles. We should be allowed to eat pickles. No one dehumanize the other. Gotcha? Gotcha. Violet says, my old stepdad was really homophobic, but now he has a boyfriend. Oh, the irony. Oh, the irony indeed. Barry says, oh, I'm seeing kid eyes, Nico, in my mind. Too cute. Just... Please? Pretty, please? Please? I'll look at you piteously. Pretty, please? Camilla says, I was talking about my dad. He told me I was too young to have ethical concerns about a job, and I think that was the dumbest advice ever. You can always have ethical concerns. Random says, I haven't actually seen the movie, but I've seen like 30% of it through clips. Watch the movie. Please watch the movie. It's so good. Maya says, I love carrots so much. Emma says, I think it's a plot by RFK Jr.'s brainworm. Yeah, the worms, they're striking back. Ray says, Bunny Fox ASMR. That'd be a fun name, lol. The Master Duelman says, man, I find it hard people eat soured pickles as a comfort food. Soured pickles? Dill pickles, that's what I do. Ray says, lol, Lamau even. Chloe says, annoying cute fox? I'm annoying? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be annoying. Maya says, annoyingly cute fox. Ray says, /J lol. Random says, yeah, us onion and pickle enjoyers have to band together to dehumanize insert food preference here that nobody actually has caused. Dehumanizing is wrong. I just thought it would be funny bit. The only people that I will be, like, extremely miffed at are hardcore right-wingers who want to take away human rights. Camilla says, I feel bad for the poor brainworm. It starved to death in JFK's head because, RFK Jr. said because it didn't have anything to eat. The Master Duelman says, she's cute, not annoying. Sometimes I can be annoying. Sometimes I do have annoying qualities. I'm pretty sure that you could list like half a dozen of annoying qualities that I have off the top of your head. Camilla says, all foxes are cute. We have been over this. An idea occurs, an anomaly like SCP-1471, but fox. 1471, is that Mallow? Yeah, it's Mallow. Mallow has some wonderful art online that is most definitely not canon to the actual Mallow. But I think that it's incredibly cute, so I'm just gonna say it's canon anyways. Yeah. Mallow fan art is really, really cute. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting stuff. Ray says, everyone is annoying, but that shouldn't stop you from loving them anyway. Yes, that's true. Random says annoying is subjective, so there's nobody who isn't annoying to someone out there. Chloe says, the secret is that your cuteness is annoying and your annoyingness is cute. However, if I am annoying to the ruling class, then I will consider that a win. If I can get the ruling class to stop being the ruling class, I will consider that a victory. Ray says, hell, maybe it's endearing. Mary says, and she wants to cuddle the listener. Well, why don't I just do Mallow then? I could just write a Mallow script. Now you have been by yourself for far too long. Here, let me cuddle you. Camilla says, also we have a tendency to be our worst enemies, at least the people I know and actually tolerate are... I am a short-tempered, witty, cynical, sarcastic bitch. I don't think that you're a bitch. Witty, cynical, sarcastic, sometimes short-tempered. Sure. But heck, I never call Akira a bitch, and for the sake of consistency, I won't call myself a bitch either. Ray says, we're all works in progress in one way or another. I'm shrugs about it. Mary says, yeah, that's mellow. And that art is extremely cute in a lot of cases. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, MAL0. It's the, colloquial term for SCP-1471. Look it up. Yeah. Random says, every so often I'm reminded that Mallow is literally someone's persona. It always throws me for a loop. Chloe says, anyone here F with emo music? Does Linkin Park count? Because I think that it counts. I like it. Ray says, I don't care if Monday's rife, Tuesday, Wednesday full of strife, Thursdays got my Sugoi life, it's Friday, I'm in love. Violet says, I got my friend platform boots and now she won't stop doing Lady Dimitrescu voice lines, help. Oh, I could do Lady Dimitrescu voice lines. So we finally meet. Camilla says, I'm almost in first. Another one of my many qualities. I just like I need to be first. Chloe says, hey, there's a PGE montage with that song. Flow state in the Pura dimension. Ray says, mellow like marshmallow. It's MAL0. Mary says, yay, a cuddly anomaly. That would be nice. Chloe says, isn't Mallow from Super Mario RPG or something? Unfortunately, no. Chloe says, I'm sobbing. Ray says, I've not played the Mario RPGs, unfortunately. Camilla says, question. What's your question, soldier? Chloe says, no, it does not. That's new metal. It doesn't? Aww. But I still like it. Linkin Park has a bunch of brilliant songs, including The Emptiness Machine, which I really love. Fun fact, I actually I first listened to The Emptiness Machine around the time where I read the original Human Domestication Guide. That was a trip. The Master Duelman says, okay, that's really sus. Emma says, why, messy question? Excuse me, just, yawned. Random says, Ethan Winters, my beloved. Well, Ethan Winters. Chloe says, wait, maybe it was So Awesome Guy PGE. The Master Duelman says, also Val just did a stream yesterday. Yes, from what I recall. And believe it or not, I'm actually, like, really, really into Resident Evil Village. Yeah, rest in peace, Chester. Ray says, I gotta listen to some of their newer stuff, actually. Random Thing says, emo music? I didn't know birds could record music. That's an emu! Scully says, also hashtag sorry, also despite not being emo is still good and in no way am I judging you or anyone who likes it. Koi says, no, that's Emu, the guys who fought the war. Kilella says, I have a problem. Am I so gay? Master Duelman says, damn you and your cute fox noises. Emma says, emu music. Violet says, I can't flirt to save my life. I can turn on my Dommy voice really quickly for you, and I could make you melt. Would you like to experience that? Would you like for me to whisper really, really interesting Dommy phrases into your ear? Camilla says, I don't think I can take it. You're just tempting me. Violet says, yes! Random Thing says, Resident Evil Village is the first one I 100%ed. Ethan is unironically my favorite game protagonist of all time. Ending a village broke me. Caused me to sob. Master Duelman says, ever heard of skillet music? Maybe. Camilla says, no, desperate girl noises. Hannah says, so I think I have like 20 plus friends of mine are trying to peer pressure me into making ASMR stuff. What do I do? Well, do you want to? If you want to, then there's no reason why you should not be able to. I can give you a couple of pointers. I seem to have experience in helping burgeoning ASMR artists get up onto their feet in this space. Ew, skillet gross people? Really? What did they do? I'm gonna look up what they did. Huh. Okay, so first off, they're Protestant, so minor red flag. Ooh, yeah. Not good stuff. Not good stuff at all. I thought that animal I have become was 3 days grace. Same people, though? Hannah says, I mean, I'd like to, but problem, I think my voice is absolute dog water. Camilla says, my friends like it when I read in my voice. I hate my voice. Anna says, yeah, brace yourself for looking up their shit list. Chloe says, I got nothing on my goat's Moose Creek Park. Yeah, bigoted. Yeah, I looked it up already. Bigoted as fuck. Anna, they're also like the Christian rock attempt to knock off a mix of Nickelback and 3 Days Grace. Violet says, I re-listened to the Wasp audios, and now I'm hyperfixated on the story. Yeah, I kind of write a lot of my ASMR projects as being works in a greater universe. I'm sorry, there's lore. There's lore. Ray says, well, if other people enjoy the sound of your voice, surely there's some appeal to it, even if you haven't seen it for yourself yet. I concur. Hannah, I think that you should give your own voice a chance. And besides, if you go looking at what I consider to be season 1 of my, audios, my voice was incredibly rough. And indeed, welcome home. The very first video that I made of, quote, Season 2's stuff was actually read in such a dead voice. That's one of the reasons why I'm remaking it. Remastering it. Camilla says, content made for American Christians tends to be problematic as hell. Hannah says, the funniest thing is Skillet somehow has less personality and depth to their songs than Nickelback. Fucking Nickelback! Well, I've got nothing against Nickelback. They're just an easy punchline. The Master Duelman says, oh man, it's an MCU-like universe. I don't like it considered to be like an MCU. I think that it should be weighed on its own merits. As big or as small as you make of it. Ray says, into the Nicoverse. Camilla says, I don't like wasps or wasps, they are gross. Violet says, I'm making my own lore aside with the story if that's okay with you. Go right ahead, make your own lore. Every single piece of lore that, hell, even if it goes against what the audios have said, then it is a spin-off universe. Something that could conceivably happened in the timeline, but just didn't in the main one. Or heck, if you're really, really creative, then who knows, maybe if I like it, then it could be considered canon. Hannah says, I don't know, I tested out a script and waiting for friend feedback, so they put their money where their mouth is. Random says, I love the lore. Every time I hear a reference to another audio, I make the dumbest pog face. Fun fact, in the remaster for Welcome Home, I'm actually putting it straight into the text that the Vespid and Mellifera families lived in Arbor. Yep, it's true. It's a stronger connection before, a little less vague, a little less, you know, flash and it's still flash and it's gone, but it's like, yeah, they existed in the same world as Welcome Home. Chloe says, at least Nickelback ain't Weezer. Mary says, the into the Nicoverse. I like it. Hannah says, the only beef I have with Nickelback is their frontman is the least Jad to ever Jad. So, are they a lake? Are they a really small lake? Duelman says, hold on, let me check my music list. Ray says, I like to imagine the listener is one of my own OCs whenever I'm listening. Like reading fanfic. Makes for a fun experience. Chloe says, my second favorite band is a song called Joan of Hill. Camilla says, I'm almost 26, I'm almost at the finish line, I need the hype. When I turn 26, I get off my dad's medical, meaning he can't see my healthcare bills. Here's my hype. I'm sending the waves of hype towards you. You cannot stop them, they are already on their way. You got this. I'm gonna be 26 this year too. I'm gonna be 26 in September. And I've not been on my father's healthcare since I left California. So I've just been doing shit for, you know, on my own ever since I left at like 23. So Dolman says, wait, this shit really is a cinematic universe. Ray says, OMG, wait, Jeopardy, but it's based off your videos, both old and new. I would have to research that. That'd be fun. Camilla says, oh shit, I forgot you and I are both 2000s kids. Yep. Born September 1st, 2000. Bisexual says, I'll be 29. Jeez, I'm getting old and I'm a Gen Z lol. Dolman says, heard of Centuries by Fall Out Boy. I actually listened to it a lot, even before I left Cali. Violet says, I'm making a sea monster royal family. Their queen's name is... Uliana? Uliana. Fun fact, the handmaiden for Welcome Home is named Aliana. Gray says, 2 years older than moi. Camilla says, I was born in October, though. Ray says, that'd be fun. Random says, make a Jeopardy sounds like a great excuse to re-listen to your questions. Chloe says, yikes, you're old, like big sister age. I'm not gonna go any further with that thought. Ara. Hannah says, if I do decide to go through with recording posting ASMR though, you'll see me under a different username, lol. Well, I would be honored. Hannah says, this is my personal YouTube account here. Bai says I was born in 97, growing up in the 2000s and the emo trend. Random says, catalog, I don't know when I said questions. Ray says, how is 29 old? Yeah, how is 29 old? It's not old at all. Camilla says, I was supposed to be born in September, but even as a newborn, I did not want to wake up. Chloe says, shout out American football, like the band. Fossilizes. Don't fossilize, no! Hannah says, the age of 30 is in demand. Yes. Yes, it is. Also, I'm gonna do that Dami voice now, because, shit got really, really glower a couple of minutes ago. I just want to see y'all melt a little bit. Just a little bit. So brace yourselves just a little bit. I don't know how well it will work, seeing as you're now all going to be bracing for it, but how would you feel if I just, dropped my voice a little bit and then just asked, why, hello there. Now what's a cutie like you doing in a place like this? You should really be careful. There are things here in the dark that could just leap out and grab you. Cutie. Woo! My model glitched out a little. Woo! Sorry. That's just because I had to lean down in order to look at, get close to the microphones, and then the camera lost track of my eyes. Melt me? I know, melt no one bed. Chloe says me listening to this on my daily nighttime walk. Duelman says, oh god, no. Cuties. Aww. Camilla says, please grab me. Oh, of course. You cutie. I am perfectly calm and not melting. Totally. Ray says, immunity is bliss. Have fun, ya ice cream. There was at one point that I was really interested in hypnosis, and then started experimenting with inductions. And that was incredibly fun. Don't know if I could do it right now, but I suppose I guess you could conceive of what I'm doing right now as a bit of an induction in and of itself, simply for virtue of you listening to my voice, and you've lost a little bit of track of time. Just a little. I suppose your eyes just flicked to your clock, the closest clock that you have, whether it be on your phone, your wrist, or over on the wall. Just confirming what time it is for you. Utter cuties. Anna says, I think I'm immune to hypnosis because I'm too ADHD to pay attention long enough for induction to work. Lamau. Well, yeah, it really does depend on the personality, and you can only really be hypnotized if you want to be hypnotized. And it really is just this very interesting flow state, this really, really relaxing focus state. One that demands all of your attention. Ray says, same, the ADHD means I get bored real fast. Also, time is not real, silly fox. And it says, oh, check the time, it reminds me that I have an entirely non-existent fucked up sleep schedule. Clay says me when they're doing conversational, but I recognize the beats that I've heard a million times before. Hannah says, I wish I could be hypnotized though. Sounds nice. Hypnosis is something that I fear has gotten a bit of a reputation as being like this, oh, it's big, scary mind control. It's not really mind control, it's, at its most extreme, it's merely guiding your mind. Lightly reshaping it to a shape that you, particularly, are more comfortable with. A more relaxed state of being. It's not that you go against your own will. It's that you are following your will to its natural conclusion. Chloe says, so the thing is, you gotta LARP it for a bit until it's natural. Hannah says, wait, it's not mind control? But that's what I want for a while. You want your mind controlled? Well, I suppose there are a couple of files for that. Violet says your tail is kind of hypnotizing me. Oh, I've been told that before. Yeah, it can be a hypnotic focus for some people, to just look at the tip of the tail as it wags back and forth and forth and back and forth again. You know, just focusing on it and, you know, listening to a conversational style as I ramble on about who knows what. You know, eventually you might just, like, lose track of time as I've been speaking and not really paying attention as you've been staring at it. You find yourself a little bit lost in the conversation. I've been there before where I was talking with someone, got distracted by something, you know, maybe it was like a cattail swaying in the breeze, swaying back and forth in the wind, and I would just look up as someone tried to get my attention and be like, what? Chloe says, like, you just gotta play along with it until suddenly you're not just playing along with it. Yeah, one of the best stories that I've ever read, which was unfortunately on a illicit website for erotic fiction, so I can't exactly repeat it here, but it was of this sort of exact sort of scenario of someone playing along to it, not really believing that it was, you know, any form of hypnosis, until she realized with an absolute jolt that she's not playing at all. It's like she's not making believe at all. And for an instant, the magic just became real. Camilla says, I want to be turned into a girl. HRT is expensive. It is extremely expensive. Ray says, I don't know if hypnosis is for me. My mind is a chaotic place as is. Letting anyone else in here is like playing LSD simulator on 2x speed. It isn't for everyone, and it's absolutely fine to beg off of that. Absolutely fine. A good hypnotist won't force it on you. Anyone does try to force it on you is a person is very suspect. Hannah says, yeah, like, shut off. No thoughts. No choices. Just doing. Existing. Chloe says, it can't necessarily make you do anything you don't want to, but at the same time, there's ways to manipulate you to want different things. Camilla says, I pay attention to time too much. I need the perfect schedule or I go mad. Anna says, oh, also, today I've learned my pharmacy can't do basic fucking math, which would be a lot more hilarious if it wasn't for their inability to properly fill my bipolar meds. I'm so sorry, Hannah. Hannah says, and only one day without him was hell. This math fuck-up means that I'd be an extra 4 days without after Saturday. I'm so terribly sorry. Ray says something the lines between truth and lies blur until they disappear. Chloe says hypnosis as a concept is very linked to the flow state, which is really funny when you're into sports. Anna says, like, for real, it's embarrassing when my dumbass can tell that the math isn't mathing. HRT isn't that expensive if you know, you know. Camilla says, I remember when Gen AI was first a thinking about 2016-ish. I played around with AI Dungeon and Cleverbot, and I had the AIs turn me into a girl. Believe it or not, I did actually toy around with AI Dungeon when it first came out. It was... In hindsight, I'm embarrassed, but back in, you know, when it was new and interesting and I wasn't entirely aware of the ramifications of it, I thought it was a neat little toy. Anna says, yeah, my HRT is free now, paid for entirely by the state government. Ray says, I got that dog in me, and that dog is a wolf who barks and growls, selective of who it trusts. Anna says, I used the government to destroy the government. Emma says, oh gosh, I remember Cleverbot. Chloe says, AI used to be cool, until it all became LLMs. General machine learning AI is still fire. Ray says, Cleverbot, those were the days. Takes a drag of my imaginary cigarette. Chloe says, I just pay $60 every 18 months and I'm chill with my HRT. Hannah says, I have had a lot of long conversations between 2008 and 14 period with Cleverbot about our good friend Ben. So sad he drowned though. I know what you're referencing. Camilla says, I like Cleverbot. It's still just a passion project by one guy. Ray says, yeah, it was a fun novelty. But that's all it is, really. Chloe says, can't type, I'm on the swings. Random Thing says, hypnosis could never work on me. I'm way too ADHD. Anyway, time to go play some Civ 6 before bed. Hey, it's like 2 a.m. Why is the sun rising? Dolman says, ever heard of JoJo's OP? As in, like, the opening songs to different seasons of JoJo's? I have. Some of them are really nice. Say that again, Chloe. Camilla says, OMG, I've not thought about Ben drowned in years. Yeah, it was one heck of a creepypasta. Welcome back, Maya. Oh, hello. Very nice to see you. All good, Camilla. You don't have to like everything. Oh, I'm not really a Zelda fan either myself. Heard that Ocarina of Time was getting a remake, and, it's okay. I'm not really, like, hyped for it. Oh. Excellent, Mary. Duelman says, also say goodbye to all cinemas everywhere in 2027. Aww. Maya says, I don't even know what this Ben Drown thing is. It's a creepypasta. Can't remember when it was written, but it was fairly popular in the day. It used to be one of the, big mascots when creepypasta was still big on YouTube. Ray says, watching Snapcube read through Ben Drowned with Friends was an awesome way to revisit it. Highly recommend for anyone interested. Y'all know Yume Nikki? Oh, I've seen bits and pieces of it. Ray says, no, please, we need cinemas. Dolman says, God, stop with the noises. Which noises? Random says, is there something specific about cinemas going on in 27? Camilla says, creepypasta didn't go away on YouTube, but it's just less popular. I know. Believe it or not, I'm actually rewriting a creepypasta that I wrote called Scarlet. Violet says, I have a moth in my room and it won't leave. Seriously, I have the window open and I keep on trying to get it to leave and it's just in the corner. Chloe says, Twin, you gotta play Yume Nikki. I think you'll find it hopefully not relatable, but... Ray says, the way the squeaks are indistinguishable from squeaky toys, cute. I sound like a squeaky toy? Camilla says, so I looked at my old Wattpad account and... God, I'm so dumb. You're not dumb. If the writing doesn't seem up to your current style, then... Hey, you've actually just grown. You've progressed. Violet says, come on, get out. Moth, nah, I'm good. Nah, I've got this bowl of cereal. I'm fine. Just holding up the line with a bowl of cereal. Camilla says most of the stories involve the protagonist turning into a girl. These things happen. Believe it or not, that was actually like the big fantasy of mine for several decades before I realized that I was trans. Wish I was able to come out sooner. Anyways. Chloe says, imagine being a girl who makes stupid, squeaky noises. Couldn't be me. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Welcome, Cloud. Cloud says I was a Zelda fan, but I had no idea what a creepypasta was. I think it was when I was scared of all horror, and so Ben Drowned was always just a weird name I heard attached to the weird Link statue. I'm sorry. Ray says maybe the moths got Reese's Puffs, ate him up, ate him up. Chloe says, you ever meet James from Missouri? I don't think so. I'm yawning a lot, hence why I'm squeaking. Camilla says, the reason about my Wattpad account has me mad was I was deep in the alt-right at the time, and so I'll just... God, I'm dumb. Well... Stars, I'm actually really tired. Oh my gosh. Sorry. My brain just froze on me. Honestly, I didn't know that I was an egg for the longest time. I just assumed that everyone wanted to be a girl. So it's like, yeah, not everyone wants to be a girl. Took me a long time. How long have I been on? Almost 2 hours. Oh yeah, it has been 2 hours. Camilla says, I don't believe you. About what? Mindfire says, alt-right to trans pipeline seems to be roughly as prevalent as the bionicle van to trans pipeline. Emma says about not everyone wanting to be a girl being silly. Well, I mean, trans men exist. And believe it or not, cis men exist. Like, gosh, just men. Especially cis men. I've seen a lot on the internet about how a lot of cis men are kind of creepy to people. And it's just kind of gotten me like, ugh. It's like, ooh. But yeah, I started transitioning when I was 20 years old, and now I'm almost 26, so 6 years. I've been openly trans for about 6 years. Camilla says, everyone wants to be a girl. There is no other explanation for the bigots. They are scared because they are jealous. Blech. And Warhammer. I hate Warhammer. I think that Warhammer sucks. And I want nothing to do with it. Gray says, funny enough, I consider myself envy, aspiring femme. Something I am whatever gender is funniest for the bit. Yeah. Valid state of being as ever. Camilla says, I don't like Warhammer because in my experience its community is the worst. Yeah, I can have a really toxic community, but more so, I just hate the lore of Warhammer. I don't like a universe that has no kindness in it. Kindness grows in the cracks of concrete. It breaks through even in the harshest, and especially in some of the harshest environments. Sleepy Fox ASMR. Very sleepy. I think that I'm going to call it here for tonight. Thank you very, very much for just being here, for listening to me ramble and become incredibly sleepy. Please take care of yourselves. Make sure to drink some water and eat some really, really delicious food. And stay safe out there. Surviving's winning. Thank you again for stopping by. Take care. Love you. Good night. Oh, and one more thing for all of the wonderful girls in chat. Good girl. Thank you. Good night.